Hey, secret friends, it's your old buddy Todd Oxtra. How are you doing on this great Monday? Just thought I'd give you a little bit of my own opinion about the Game of Thrones season premiere. This is season 7. There are 7 episodes this season. We are in for a wild ride. There's not a lot of time left to build a lot of uh, depth and I guess character moments. These are really the characters we know now. I don't think we'll see a lot of new characters introduced this season because quite honestly, they just don't have the time. I mean, I think our characters are set, and with the way this episode opened, the pieces are in place. The pawns are in place. It's everything is ready to go. Bran very quickly shows up at the gates to the wall, brought into Castle Black very quickly. We see the White Walkers, opening on their march towards the south. I mean, and there's theories that the Night King has put his mark on Bran, so potentially that's how he gets through the wall, is through that mark. So that could be a bad thing as Bran reconnects. So Bran will be meeting with his sister and his brother, hopefully next episode. So that'll be great. We've got Cersei. At this point, she and Jaime have basically connected. I think he's starting to realize that she's not the same woman she once was. He talks about, why do we want to rule when all our children are dead? And she says, it doesn't matter, it's about us. So I think Jaime, is starting to see the cracks form with Cersei. And because of that, I think that foreshadows ultimately what's going to happen as honestly, I think Jaime will live up to his name as his nickname, the Kingslayer. But we'll see how that goes. We also, Jaime talks about needing allies. We have no allies. The Freys are all dead because the way the show opened was with Arya in disguise as Walter Frey, talking to all of the Freys and mentions, you didn't kill all of the wolves, and when you don't, the sheep are no longer safe. So basically, she does a great voice impression of Walter Frey and poisons the whole clan. So that was one of the strongest allies of the Lannisters. They're gone. So we already know the Boltons are out of the picture as well. So because of all of those things, Cersei obviously has she's got an ace up her sleeve, and that is Euron Greyjoy. Euron Greyjoy, you see his fleet coming in. Man, that fleet is fantastic looking, really phenomenal, just very almost insurmountable. So this is the biggest fleet in all of the kingdoms, and he comes greeting Cersei, and he says he wants a bride. And that's he's very cocky in the way he was dressed, kind of like a rock star. Somebody, he said, it looks like he's got some guy liner, very much, kind of like an alternative rock kind of sexy dude. He basically states he wants to marry the queen. He wants to marry the most beautiful woman in the land, and that's Cersei. But Cersei says, I don't trust you. You've killed, your brother. You've lied. You've cheated. You've steal. You've done all these things. So she says, I need something to know that you will, keep your promise. So he says, I will bring you something that you value the most. So that foreshadows a few things. Could be one of the Starks. It could be one of the snakes from Dorne, because they killed their daughter. It could be Tyrion, and something tells me it might be Tyrion, but we don't know. But it's got to be something that to her that would mean a lot. And at this point, revenge is the most important thing because her children are gone. So maybe that's what's going to happen with that element. So We also have then Arya continuing on. She meets up with some of the. She's heading south to the kingdom, and she meets up with Ed Sheeran, who's a singer. It's kind of cool. Why not? Well, he kind of looks like he's from the Game of Thrones universe. And she's joking around. Then she jokes and gains their trust, and she makes a joke that, what are you going to do there? I'm going to kill the queen. And they all laugh, of course, not knowing who she is. And I've heard a juicy bit that, maybe Arya kills Cersei, but as Jaime Lannister in disguise. So we'll see. I don't know if Cersei's gonna surprise us all, and we're all expecting her to die, and she will die. Some people say she'll probably die this season. I'm not sure. I'd really like to see her carry on through the whole season and into next, and finally have a comeuppance because for all of this, she is the instigator in the Game of Thrones. Poisoned her husband. Didn't give him a proper heir. So I guess we'll see. But that's kind of where it all kind of began with her. Then we go to the Starks. Jon and Sansa are having a power struggle. They openly are arguing. Not arguing. Arguing is probably a little strong, but they're disagreeing about how things should go. What is the what should you do with these houses that betrayed the Starks? And Jon is all about basically not punishing the children for the father's sins. And Sansa's like, no, you reward the families who stood with us the whole time, and you give them those houses. So basically, but Jon is the king, so his wisdom carried through, and they reconnected. And I think we're going to continue to see this conflict, but maybe that will kind of be put aside when Bran comes in. Because there's also kind of a disagreement. Jon knows that the White Walkers are coming, and that's the most important thing to him. Sansa, unfortunately, she is still, admittedly right that she knows that Cersei will stop at nothing. She's the Mad Queen now, so we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to them in their rule, but I think that's where when the White Walkers finally do show up, and I guess that's where the shoe drops. What happens first? Do the Lannisters attack, or do the White Walkers attack first? Guess we'll see. We got the Hound. He showed up. He's still with the Soldiers Without Banners, and he ended up revisiting the home of the one family who took them in, but he basically took their money and they died. So he was able to kind of redeem himself, I guess, in a way, by burying the family. But he's also now, because he was resurrected, he's seeing things in the flames. So he sees the battle coming, and so I think he's on board. I think he's ready to redeem himself, because I think this was a come to Jesus for him, or one of the gods of the heaven, the thrones. But other than that, I think the other thing that really I think that was kind of cool, we got some more time with Sam as basically an intern to the Meisters, and all I can say is poop and soup. That was it's kind of gross, but that's what he was kind of doing, cleaning all the bedpans, feeding all the Meisters, putting away the books, and he realized, though, he's got to help. He's got to help Jon. So by doing so, he ended up going into the library and got some books undercover, as stealthy as Sam can be. Found that there is basically a mountain of the dragonglass that is down south. So that most likely will get Jon, that information will get Jon to meet up with our final part of the story this episode, which was Daenerys finally landing back in the Seven Kingdoms. She's in Dragonstone, the home of the Targaryens. It was a silent moment No one spoke. No words exchanged. She ended up going into her castle, where Stannis had basically been ruling since they killed the Mad King, and she took it back. She pulled down the banner of the Baratheons, and she basically peered out, and that is where the episode ended. So, I'm excited about this season, but with that episode, everybody's in place. Things are going to happen. We will see what's going to happen next. But the big problem is there's only 6 episodes left this season. So it's a little disappointing that we're only getting that many episodes. By the end of August, we'll be done. So I'm excited. What did you guys think? Are you excited about Game of Thrones? What are your theories on who will live, who will die? Really, this season, so far in this episode, no one really notable has died yet in episode 1. So more to come. So thank you, Secret Friends. Follow us on Twitter at SecretFriendsU. Obviously, listen to the podcast. Comes out every week. And also check out our YouTube channel that you're watching now. If you want to join us, follow us on Facebook, too. Secret Friends Unite Podcast is our page just for the podcast. But if you also want to join our community, Secret Friends Unite is also a community you can join in. We have a lot of great discussions. So thank you again. Secret Friends Unite forever. Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys.